In today's video, you are going to learn why we use the present simple, how to make the present simple in sentences and questions. You're going to see some real native examples of the present simple, and you'll take a quick test to see whether you have learned everything about the present simple. This video also comes with a free PDF, and you can find that in the description. It has all the information from this video on a handy piece of paper. So, what is the present simple? I'll give you 4 examples. I wake up at 7 a.m. I read before bed. Water boils at 100 degrees. And I like chips. Okay, these are all examples of the present simple. And we can actually put those into 2 groups. The first group, habits, things we do again and again. I wake up at 7 a.m. again and again and again. Probably every day, right? I read before bed again and again and again. It started in the past. I still do it now. I'll probably keep doing it in the future. The second group is facts, or things that are generally true. So, water boils at 100 degrees. That's a fact. It was true in the past. It's true now. It will be true in the future. It's a fact. And I like chips. Okay, that could change, but it's really hard to change the things you like. So we can say that's a general truth. That's pretty much always true. So now you try. Is this a fact or a habit?
I like to keep my options open. I like to keep my options open. I like to keep my options open.
Fact. Yes, she likes to do something. So that's in the past, the present, and the future. It's a general truth.
I get up at the crack of dawn always. I get up at the crack of dawn always. I get up at the crack of dawn always.
That's a habit. I get up. That's something I do again and again. And he said he gets up at the crack of dawn always. He always gets up at this time.
I have class and you don't. I have class and you don't. I have class and you don't.
This one is a fact. It's something she believes to be true.
I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you.
This one is true. It's not happening again and again, but it is a fact.
We talk about you every evening, of course. We talk about you every evening, of course. We talk about you every evening, of course.
This one is a habit. It's a habit because they do it every evening, again and again. Before we go any further, let's quickly review singular and plural nouns, because they can change the verb in present simple. So we need to make sure that we understand them. First of all, singular nouns. That's one person, one thing, one place, or one idea. It's like Rhys, the teacher, the chair, or the country. Plural nouns are 2 or more. So we could have the teachers, the countries, the tables. Okay, so singular is 1, plural is 2 or more. All right, back to the present simple. Now we can start making the present simple. First, we need a subject. That's the person or the thing that does the action. So you could use a pronoun like I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Or we could use a noun like Rhys or the students. Next, we need to choose a verb. That's the main doing word in the sentence. For example, like, watch, study, and finish. But be careful. You might need to add S or ES, or you might need to take away a Y and put IES. So we have he watches, Rhys studies. We'll talk more about this a little later on. But top tip, plural nouns don't change the verb. The students finish is correct English. Lastly, you might want to add an object. That's the part that comes after the verb. I like chips. He watches TV. Rhys studies Chinese. The students finish school. And that is a positive sentence. So remember, to make a positive sentence, it's subject, verb, object. But sometimes we want a negative sentence or a no sentence. The way we do that is by adding do not or does not. And if we're writing a formal letter, we'll probably write do not, does not. But in everyday spoken English and even informal written English, we'll shorten them. Don't and doesn't. So we use don't with I, you, we, they, and plural nouns. And we use doesn't with he, she, it, and singular nouns. Like this. I don't like chips. He doesn't watch TV. Rhys doesn't study Chinese. The students don't finish school. So to make a negative sentence, that's subject, don't or doesn't, verb, object. And top tip, check out these verbs. None of them changed. And the reason is we already have doesn't. Doesn't is already changed. We don't need to change two verbs in the same sentence. And for questions, all we need to do is take the positive sentence and add do or does. Do for I, you, we, they, and plural nouns. Does for he, she, it, and singular nouns. Do I like chips? Does he watch TV? Does Rhys study Chinese? Do the children finish school? So remember, that's do or does, subject, verb, object, question mark. Now let's look at how to answer these questions. It might be tricky depending on your language. Example, first one. Do I like chips? Yes, It's yes, I do. For some of you, that will be obvious. For others, you might have thought it was yes, I like. But it depends on your language. In English, we take that word from the question. It was a do question, so we use do. Yes, I do. No, I don't. And try these other ones. Does he watch TV? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Does Rhys study Chinese? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. And last one. Do the children finish school? Yes, they do. No, they don't. Now notice I shortened those answers. I didn't want to say Rhys 2 times, so I just said he. I didn't want to say the students 2 times. We know it's the students, so I'll just say they in the answer. Of course, sometimes yes and no are not good enough. We want bigger answers with more information. To do that, we just add a question word to the start of the question. Those are words like who, what, where, when, why, and how. There are more question words, but those are the main ones. Why do I like chips? Because they're salty. Where does he watch TV? In the living room. How does Rhys study Chinese? Using a textbook. When do the children finish school? At 3 p.m. If you have he, she, it, or a singular noun, there are 4 ways to change the verb. First, if you have, just change that to has. Second, if the verb ends in s, sh, ch, x, or o, then add es. If the verb ends in y, you need to look at the letter before y. If that letter is a consonant, which is any letter other than a, e, I, o, u, if it is a consonant, take away the y and add ies. If none of these, then just add s. Now it's time for your quiz. Fill in the gaps using the words in brackets. Some words might need to be changed, others don't. We'll do the first question together. He for a bank. Okay, the subject is he, so we need to add s to this word, works. He works for a bank. Now you try. This is a negative sentence, and negative sentences don't change the main verb. So drink stays the same. And I think we're going to go with don't, because the subject is we. We don't drink coffee in the morning. We have a question mark here, so we're going to need to put do or does at the start. The subject is she, so we'll use does. And in questions, remember, the main verb stays the same. Does she go to the gym regularly? We've got another question here, but we've already got a question word. So I think do or does needs to go in the gap. Which one depends on the subject. Your brother is a singular noun, so I'm going to put does here. And because it's a question, I'm not going to change this verb. When does your brother cook dinner? We don't need to change anything here. They play football on Wednesdays. Another question. Okay, let's find the subject. The bus. The bus is a singular noun, so we'll use does. And the main verb stays the same in questions. What time does the bus arrive? My friend is a singular noun, so I'm going to have to change work to works. My friend works at a bookshop. The subject in this question is you, so we'll use do and keep the main verb the same. Do you have any pets? Today you learned that the present simple is used for habits and facts. You learned how to make a positive and negative sentence and a question in the present simple. You learned that subjects can change verbs. And you learned what subjects and objects do in a sentence. If you want to see real examples of the present simple, I made a video where I read an article called Why Do We Dream? It has lots of present simple examples, and I teach you a lot of useful vocabulary. Lastly, before you go, I would like you to write a comment in the present simple, and I might put it in my next video about adverbs of frequency. Subscribe so you don't miss it.